Test, test, test. There we go. We are ready to rock and roll. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, everybody. And we are ready for a championship game here at the U16 AA Cowboy Classic. Dave Stanish along for the ride with you one more time with our terrific cameraman, Mark Payne. We've had a lot of fun this weekend. And you know what? I'm going to hand this over to him because he's going to take care of these two teams. He's been doing a lot of great work all week long, and I want to thank him for all of his efforts this week. So, Mark, take it over for me, my friend.
Test 1 2, test 1 2. The real person we should be thanking, of course, is none other than Dave Standish to my right here. He's been on the scene here all week with me at this 2025 Cowboy Classic. He's got the technical know-how. I tried to lay out the cables and everything as best I could for him this morning, but frankly, I don't know what I'm doing half the time when it comes to the technical side of the business. So it's always great to have that assist here, and we'll look for some assists and some goals. Welcome, everybody, to WinSport A, to the 2025 Cowboy Classic Final here just steps below Canada Olympic. We'd like to thank Signature 28 Dental, our title sponsor for this final game here this morning. And, of course, Dave and I will head over to another Northwest game, and that'll be the Northwest UPP, United Pacific Project Flames, facing off against the Calgary North Stars this afternoon. That game will be at 2:45 at Father David Bauer Arena. We'll share all the information online. Thanks for following me all week long at Hockey Pain. Got two great staffs, two great hockey teams here. It's the Battle of Alberta here at the Cowboy Classic. We'll pause for a moment to get the anthems out of the way in the home of Hockey Canada, and we'll be back with starting lineups in just a moment. In the words of the late Bob Cole, oh, baby, for sure. What a moment here at WinSport. Gotta love it. Got the Four Nations face-off starting next week. Of course, Team Canada will be a big part of that. And there's no hockey I love more than minor hockey, but right behind it, it'd definitely be international hockey. Best on best, they call it. And that's exactly what we're going to see here in a final this morning. This is going to be an exciting day. We've got all the tournament rules to go through. We've got a lot to get to here as we start our broadcast here at the Cowboy Classic. Again, Mark Payne alongside Dave Standish up here in the booth. Today's starting goaltender for the Southside Athletic Club is number 35, Campbell Walker. I was joking with the coaches before. We're just going to call him Soupy. because he's got two first names. It could be Walker Campbell, too, but it is Campbell Walker between the pipes. On defense, number 17, Garrett Holtz. Number 4, Mikhail Kanji. Number 26, Tristan Klaus up front. Kason Bernani is number 10. Number 2, Mackenzie Mountaintag. And at the only affiliate player in the lineup, and that's the call-up, shoot scores! What a start for the Bronx. I couldn't even get through all the names. That affiliate player is Tristan Klaus. What a huge goal and a great start for the Northwest Bronx here at their home rink. Starting goaltender for the Northwest Bronx, all brought to you by Helium. Starting in goal, number 1, Charlie Peck. On the back end, number 5, Oliver Clark. And number 8, Cooper Curry. Up front, we've got number 7, Lincoln Stokes. Number 16, Domenico Tremblay. And number 14, a great interview, and that's Easton Miller. As we're off and running here right away, 1-0, 27 seconds into the hockey game. So an unassisted marker to start this hockey game. Boy, good thing we got set up here. We would have missed the first goal. Down the left-hand side, Southside Athletic Club. They're in their green uniforms today with their red and white trim. And, of course, a big member, the Tambellini family, is always part of the Southside Athletic Club. Of course, that's a huge name for Hockey Canada. Longtime member of the Edmonton Oilers, and his son, of course, playing in the National Hockey League as well, as that comes out into the neutral zone. One of the things when we have tournaments up here at this facility, and I'm so happy that we're in this rink right now, is a lot of the times the coaches and teams don't like to rink because it's the big ice. So the Olympic size ice, 2 games per day. So that should be a real test for them here this morning. And I'm pretty sure it was Stoltz with the goal, the unassisted marker. Lincoln Stoltz. We'll have to check on that. We've got the booming voice down there on the public address as well. I'm way up top here on the far side. Dave's on the camera here on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Back inside the zone. Here comes Southside Athletic Club. They throw that into the corner. Back the other way. It's picked up there by Ethan Joyce. Joyce wears the number 2 for these Northwest Bronx. We've been using good Cowboy references all week. Had a game earlier that was the Spurs and the Bronx. Really appreciate all the support we've gotten from the parents and all the fans around the rink that have appreciated the work that we've been doing. Frankly, it's my absolute passion, and I'm driven to do this to get up in the morning, even on Super Bowl Sunday. And back-to-back broadcasts. I had 3 yesterday. Was down last night for the last regular season game for the Okotoks Bisons in the HJHL. Like to send a shout out to all those graduating players there as well. That was a great hockey game, a 5-4 win. Now back up the middle of the ice and reaching for that. The Northwest Bronx try to build on a 1-0 lead. Of course, the big news on Team Canada yesterday, Drew Doughty, the Los Angeles King, and of course, a gold medalist on Team Canada in the past, will be joining the Canadians this week. So that's exciting to have a veteran player like that. The London, Ontario native, now 35 years old, just returning from injury for the LA Kings. Brought outside the zone, back out into the neutral zone. Of course, some Calgarians disappointed that that player was not Mackenzie Weegar. I saw they actually asked head coach Ryan Huska that post-game. Back inside the corner. Stokes back in front. She scores! Bang, bang, it's Tapper tapping it home. Oh, baby. What a start for the Bronx. They're up 2-0. Had a great chance to catch up with the Southside Athletic Club's entire coaching staff. What a classy bunch. And was just really fun. Talked a lot about Jack Michaels, who's one of my heroes up in Edmonton. Just being from St. Albert, when these Edmonton teams get to come down, it's really nostalgic for me because I'm going to talk about all my favorite players, which most of them are from Northern Alberta. Let's see here, the announcement. Tapper with the goal. Stotz with the assist. So Tapper and Stotz hooking up there on the second goal here as we're 3 minutes and 4 seconds into this first period of this final of the Cowboy Classic, a bronze medal game going on as well between the KC Spurs and Red Deer. That one on sheet D. I was counting my steps the first day. It was up to 12,000. Down the left-hand side, here come the Bronx again. And I won't be making the jaunt over to the far side for that bronze medal game, but we'll hopefully try to get some post-game reaction there as well. Been a real balancing act trying to cover all the teams here. Want to have balanced coverage, of course. Down the right-hand side, it's picked up into the corner by Breton Lishka. Lishka wears the number 6, back to the left point. Bronx with control. Stoats now with a great start. He's got control of it again. He wears the number 7. Back off the board. 7 was once worn by Joe Mullen of the Calgary Flames. I always love throwing those old Flames references in with our Northwest Flames as well. Bennell out there on the back end. He's going to go off for a line change as that one's going to be whistled down. 16:06 remaining here in the first period. So there is a tournament format about overtimes and shootouts. If we get to the direction, we'll kind of explain that as the day goes on. Really want to thank all the volunteers. Yes, I know they're all watching now. A rebound shot. And they're all over there in our main offices in the middle of this facility at Winsport. Tara, Deb, the entire crew, you've done such a fantastic job. One of the reasons I came over to the Northwest Association to help them out, do some of the media work and broadcasting this year is I met all the parents. And it's just continued on this year. Just a great group. Everybody's very selfless and always helping. It's been really, really fun to get to know everybody. And we've had a great season at all levels of this Northwest Association. And it's great to have a fantastic group from Southside Athletic Club here with us today, as that one shot on net there by Cameron Benoit. Benoit had 3 points yesterday, and his older brother, Evan, is a star for the Northwest Flames, and will be playing the North Stars, as I mentioned earlier on the broadcast, later on this afternoon. So on icy roads, it was almost like driving here and going to the ski hill this morning. It was blustery, we'll say. And it's going to be the same as we try to get from here over to Father David between these games. We'll have post-game reaction here as well. And, of course, we'll have a ceremony as this is the final. You see the coaches on the Bronx bench kind of have their hands up. The head coach is Aiden Jackson, Andy Fitzpatrick, Luke McDougall, and the assistant coaches, as well as Liam Richardson. Another great group of guys, and it's been fun catching up with them between games and around the rinks this weekend. Back inside the corner. Here's Joyce. Comes in, pushes it down there. And probably the hardest name on this team to say is Yun Parema. And he's number 17. Of course, I always joke about our U17 AAA Flames. And here's his name again, Konstantinos Morfesis, or as we like to call him, Dino. And unfortunately, Gus's Pizza's closed. Otherwise, we'd go there for lunch today, Dave. It's our favorite spot here in Northwest Calgary, just across the street from Foothills Hospital. It's just a beautiful view as you come over to this side of the city, too, seeing the mountains and everything. And, of course, on the logo of the Northwest Association are those mountains depicted there, as it's a face-off inside the zone, one there by Southside. Kanji out there on the back end. He's got the puck now. He flips it back out into the neutral zone, right onto the stick of Oliver Clark down the left-hand side. Southside works it D to D here. Back outside. I love their uniforms. They're always remind me a little bit of the Minnesota Wild, but a little bit more red in them, I'd say. And they've got the black helmets on today. Northwest Bronx back there in white, and it's picked up there by Cooper Curry. Curry knifes it up the sidewall, comes back out into the neutral zone. I listened to my broadcast that we did of the first game of this event, and I think I said the word zone 63 times. So if that was a drinking game, you'd have to have 63 shots. And there was almost 63 shots in that HJHL game last night, 58 shots on goal, in fact, for the Okotoks Bisons. I couldn't believe it. Great job on the call by the voice of the Calgary Stampeders, Mark Steven over there. We are blessed with some good broadcasters here in Southern Alberta and Northern Alberta as well. They've done a great job throughout the AEHL and the CSSHL this season as it's chipped off the wall back behind the cage. There's Tapper. He had the second goal here. The Bronx are up 2-0. picked up inside their own zone. They work the breakout pass, try to knife it across the center ice area there to Tristan Catahan. Catahan wears the number 11, and that goes all the way down the length of the ice. It skipped over his stick for an icing call. One of the cool things about this building, and there's a lot, the Winsport Hockey House that's up in the left-hand corner, kind of a bar area. But for me, it's all the banners for Team Canada hanging here. I sat here on Friday afternoon and just kind of soaked it all in. And I've been fortunate enough to be at a few of the Olympics where Canada has been successful. One of them, my favorite memory, is 2002 in Salt Lake City. And it took me a while to find the banner. It's right up over top of Southside's bench, actually. You've almost got to squint to see it. It's a tougher area to see up there because you have to kind of look straight up from the bench. I've actually played a hockey game here and a charity game as well. It's a real cool environment as the fans are mostly on the other side there right now, but there's plenty of seating on this side too as it comes inside the zone. Northwest Bronx pick it up here at the Cowboy Classic. Thanks for joining us here on YouTube. We're excited to bring all the action here to you. Jake Bayes back inside the zone. He wears the number 3 for the Northwest Bronx, picked up there by Southside. They'll throw it back down deep into the corner. Here come the Bronx up the right-hand side onto the stick of a Southside player. Goes inside, back in front of the net, goes all the way back to the right point. Good job to keep it into the zone. Now the Bronx coming out with some speed. Tapper out there in front of the net. That cut off there and picked up easily by Jet Tran. Tran, number 8. Back the other way, picked up there by Lincoln Stotes. Stotes back inside the zone on the right-hand wall. Goes back to the point there. Now it's picked up here by Southside. They'll come out with speed. Down the right-hand side, they've got a shot on net. Oh, that just goes wide. Peck had to be careful there. Charlie Peck, the goaltender, between the pipes, doing a good job there for the Bronx. Here comes Stotes back the other way, down the left-hand wing. He chips it back in front of the wall, goes back behind the net. It's controlled there, goes off the corner dasher there, and a bad bounce there for Southside, but they do a good job to retrieve it. Gets all the way out to the blue line, but not out. It's out now. Good back check there by Lincoln Stotes, and now it goes all the way down into the corner. It's picked up there by Ryan Zapps. I'm going to have some fun with some of these names today. And of course, I always say these are the names of the future. So I was talking about Drew Doughty, and I always talk about other young players that grow up in the Edmonton and Calgary areas, and it's always fun to say, I remember seeing him play when he was a U16 player, a U17 player, U18 player, a U13 player. They had the little guys, the Spartan Hockey Academy over on the other side, and the purist in me, the hockey coach, just sitting there watching these little guys. They're just awesome and really motoring around. Of course, they got all the gear, too. They got the shells on and on their pants, and I'll tell you something, they look better than I do. That's not true. My dad used to say to me that I was never good enough to make the NHL, but I always had the gear that made me look like I was in the NHL. I had Supra Oilers pants when I was on Bantam 4, I remember. It was pretty lucky, and of course, the cost of equipment now, it's pretty crazy. The net comes off there, and I always tell parents those things are not necessary. You can learn how to play hockey with a wooden stick on the outdoor rink. It's still my favorite place to play at the ODR. And trust me, the ice is in prime condition out there right now. Be careful if you're out on the roads too. They are slippery. That comes down onto the stick of Benoit. He chips it into the corner. We joked about this earlier this week. Benoit and his brother do not look alike. I wouldn't pick them out of a lineup. Down the left-hand side with speed. Here comes Southside as they look for their first goal. That's Bennett DeBolt. DeBolt wears the number 14. Comes back inside Southside's zone. And a good little drop pass there. Goes all the way across the ice and just jumping on the ice on a good quick change there. You'll notice that the benches here at Winsport, there's the clear plexiglass in front of the benches. And of course, that's for the sledge hockey. We call this facility home as well. And right underneath between the benches there is Team Canada's dressing room. And I've been lucky enough to be in there a couple times for some coaching symposiums. It is a very, very special place. I often wonder if these young players get the same kind of vibes I do coming into a rink like this not only on a championship Sunday like this, but just in general. They always say it's an honor to wear the Team Canada logo, and I am a true believer in that. Back the other way, skips over the stick, and I'm sure Sidney Crosby and Nathan McKinnon and Connor McDavid and Cale Makar and Jordan Binnington will all feel that way. One of those young stars in Alberta is Aiden Hill. He'll be on the Canadian roster as well. Late change here for Southside is skating off the ice there is Brar, and he'll get off the ice, and we'll get right back to the action here as we're already reached the midway point of the first period. A thunderous start here. As Garth Brooks used to say, the thunder rolls for the Northwest Bronx. 2 quick goals to start this hockey game off. Digging for it down deep in the corner, that's Jaden Toth. Goes off a foot there, and it skips over a stick. Toth digs for it there. Forward down inside the corner, now picked up there by Southside, and it's Haram Ann. Ann out there right now. He wears the number 20. You'll see him down there on the far side of your screen. Back the other way. Here come the Northwest Bronx. It's Callahan back in front of the net. Another dangerous chance in the slot. Good passing so far for the Northwest Bronx, and they've buried a couple here doing just that. The bang plays, we like to call them in the room. Back up to the left-hand side, goes back to the left point, chipped off the wall there, goes back down behind the cage on the far end. You'll see behind there, that's not a Zamboni entrance. Those actual staircases and seating are temporary seating, but they fold down, so when they have a full facility here. I was here watching some pro camps, and it was a full facility, and you'll see up top, just like we have at Max Bell here, there's a nice area, track area that's open to the public, and there's some people walking around up here today, getting their steps in as I did earlier this week. A little bit different. One of the parents asked what happened to my fancy shoes. I went back to the dress shoes yesterday. Tapper wrestles for it there, comes back onto goaltender Peck. Talking to the coaches before the games, the 2 goaltenders for the Northwest Bronx, and it's Justin Levesque, who played yesterday, on the bench today, and Peck could not be any more different. And I also spoke to Adam Marcoux about that. Very different personalities and different styles as goaltenders. Good kick save there, and that's some good style there from the Southside goaltender. Of course, we mentioned that already. That's Campbell Walker. Of course, the Edmonton Oilers had a Campbell in net. That was Jack Campbell, and his nickname is Soupy. Love that nickname. Back into the corner, back at the right point. He's now in the Detroit organization. That chipped off the back of the net, now controlled by Southside. They've got control. They trail here by 2. Lots of time to go here as we're still 7:16 remaining in the first period. That goes all the way down the length of the ice. That's going to be an icing call. Another nice feature here is we've got the shots on goal for you, and they are 9-5 right now in favor of the Northwest Bronx. Because they have the sledge hockey benches, it's very long benches, and the neat part on this side is the glass is very long behind the scorers table, and they've done a fantastic job down there. Just an exceptional facility. I'd like to thank Winsport, our hosts, for having us here this week. I've drank a lot of their coffee, let me tell you. Back inside the zone, that chip back down there as Tremblay's back out there for the Northwest Bronx. He's right in front of the net right now, wearing the number 16. Wrestling for the puck now, comes back outside the zone, controlled by the Bronx. Good active stick there, as now it's picked up there by, here's some of the tougher names, Victor Radonovich. He's the number 15. They actually gave me some nicknames to say here as well. So 16 is Brett, and pardon me if I don't get this right, Ferderomich. And the guy says, don't worry, we just call him Rico. Another good nickname, just like Dino. Back in front of the net, chip there as Tran tries to get some traction. Bennell back on the end. There's Tran coming back inside the zone, picked up there. Northwest Bronx regaining control. They'll come back out into the neutral zone. You're watching the 2025 Cowboy Classic gold medal game here from Winsport on YouTube. Back to the right side, chipped inside the slot area there. South side back in numbers. Now they'll work it up the left-hand side and coming in there. Good shot on net. That one just whistles wide. That was Noah McCalla. McCalla wears the number 7. And we are going to have a penalty here. I know these officials very well. They actually officiate a lot of the U18 games. And I'm not ashamed to say this. I think they're the best officiating crew in the AEHL that I've seen this year. Gotten to know the linesmen and the referees around the rinks. Had a chat with one of them before. He's dropping the puck right now as Bays heads off for the holding penalty. This power play brought to you by Signature Dental. Back inside the left corner, goes back to the blue line there. Good shot block there by the Bronx. Good way to kill the penalty, and that comes inside the line. Lugging in there is Zach Yasinski. Yasinski wears the number 3. So I'd be remiss if we didn't thank all of the teams that have come here, 8 in total for this inaugural Cowboy Classic. It was great to have some teams from out of town. I've always loved to connect with some of the players from other places, and it was really nice. One of the Wheatland Chief players, there's interviews at Hockey Pain, and you can watch them all, and came right up to me, goes, I'm Brandon Williams' cousin, and I just thought that was so cool that he sees, his cousin having success at the U18 level, and he came over and introduced himself. Just some really, really nice young men here, and have all carried themselves so well this week. It was just so fun to meet a lot of them, and I know a lot of them were very nervous. They hadn't been interviewed and that sort of thing before, but I know they all go on to have great careers, and they'll be interviewed again, so you'll get to know them a little bit better. You can remember you saw them here first at the U16 AA Cowboy Classic. Back the other way, controlled by McCalla. McCalla comes inside the line, down the right-hand side behind the net. Good patience there as he hangs on to it back behind the net. Allows things to set up here as we're still 34 seconds remaining in this power play. Back in front of the net, that goes off a stick, back down the other way, all the way deep inside the zone. I think one of the nice things, too, is the clean sight lines on here. There's no partitions in the glass, so the seamless glass outside of right behind both goaltenders here. So great sight lines for the fans, and we hope you're enjoying the sight lines here on our broadcast on YouTube. Back inside the zone. South side, throw it in front, chip there. Oh, that just goes wide. Peck's lost his stick. It's between his legs. He's going to leave it there as he goes back and forth. Lucky for him, it kicks between his feet. And another piece of luck there for the Northwest Bronx is Bays is back to the bench. He's out of the penalty box. We're back to 5-on-5 hockey. 3:25 remaining here in the first period. 2-0 the score. McCalla with control. Ooh, Dixie Dangle there as he throws it through his feet. I can do that. No, I can't. My color man, Sam Matheos, would say, Painter, you don't have that kind of move. In front of the net there, smothered in front of the net by Peck. He's been steady, but tested here. 7 shots on goal for Southside as they still look for their first goal in this gold medal game. Quick line change, and we'll get back to the action here in a moment. Between periods, we'll take breaks, and we'll be back, obviously, for the second and third of this gold medal game. Back inside the zone, chipped off the wall, all the way back down. And chasing after it there is Easton Miller. Goes all the way down for an icing call. I like watching Peck. He likes to go for the long skates and that sort of thing. Kind of reminds me a little bit of another Canadian goaltender, of course, that being Marc-Andre Fleury, the multi-cup winner for the Pittsburgh Penguins, now a member of the Minnesota Wild. They call him Flower. Back the other way, chipped off the wall. Miller throws that back inside the zone. Coming out of the cage there is Campbell Walker. Walker leaves it there for a defenseman. Controlled inside the zone as it comes back on its work down to the near side here. As Southside try to throw that up the ice on a head man pass, that's just going to miss Joshua Hebden. Hebden reaching for it, can't get to it with 2:34 remaining. We'll have a face-off down deep inside the Northwest Bronx zone. Chip the other way. It was something that Dave Standish said to me yesterday that resonated with me. I was saying how busy I've been going to all these games and calling the games. He said, well, you can have a real job. This certainly doesn't feel like a real job. Down the left-hand side, comes back out into center ice, right on top of that Team Canada logo. Of course, I don't know if the younger players watching our broadcast know this. There is a very hard rule in the Team Canada dressing room that you do not walk across the logo, and that's in most dressing rooms now, but that started with Team Canada. So I saw that they were doing a tour. I think it was the Toronto Maple Leafs dressing room. They actually have a carpet that goes over top of the logo. So for the media members and other people that are guests that don't realize it, but if you want to hear a hush in a dressing room, walk across the logo. Don't do it, kids. Controlled there by Benoit on the near side. Looking for his mom. She was down helping out in the score clock. She helps with the music, and Father David Bauer as well. All the parents fill in these multiple roles and also do the updating on the Hockey Calgary website as well. There's a lot to this minor hockey thing, and it's been a real group effort. I don't like to give too many secrets to the coaches, but they told me they didn't sleep much last night, so I thought that was kind of funny. Game day nerves, they call it. And I always joke with people, if you are nervous, it usually means it's because you care and you want to do a good job, and these guys have all done a great job. We need more and more young coaches in the game, and we've got two great sets of them here this morning at Winsport. Outside the zone, that one dropped right in front of the Bronx bench, chipped off the wall there. Good hit there as the man steps up. That was Kaysen Varani with the body check. Chipped up the other way, now controlled by the Northwest Bronx. They'll try to go inside out there. That's Gatos. Jacob Gatos, number 19. Down the left-hand side, goes off a stick. And here come the Northwest Bronx. A 2-on-1 developing. That goes in the skates of Gatos. And the other man got back there. It would have been a 2-on-2, actually. Back inside the zone. Good backhand play. That gets up off the wall. Down the right-hand side. Here comes Canahan. He's beat his man. He's got the puck behind the cage. Walker's got to be careful here. Good save there by the Southside goaltender and good rebound control as well, as he'll cover up for another draw here with 21.4 seconds remaining in the first period. Scramble draw won by Southside, now picked up outside the zone. McCalla comes inside out. Nice little move there. He's had a good period. Real shifty player out there. He wears the number 7. Back on the back end, chip there. I mentioned the numbers a lot because I want you to be able to identify them for yourself. I know a lot of people may not have seen some of these players and be like, oh, yeah, that's right. He said that number 7 is McCalla. As an example, we'll take a break here in the first intermission. 2-0 the score in this gold medal game here at the Cowboy Classic. Brought to you by Signature Dental. We'll take a break here on YouTube and be back for second period coverage coming up next.
Swans us North Stars off ski. It's impossible.
Lucky you.
Tough life.
Pick the perfect week to be on vacation. Yeah, that's possible.
Call it like
Test, test, test. Hello, 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 hello. That should be working a little bit better. We're just messing around with some audio settings during the intermission. What the heck is going on? Test, test, test. Hello, 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 hello. We're still good.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back here at Winsport for the 2025 Cowboy Classic. Gold medal game, 2-0 lead after one period of play in favor of the Northwest Bronx on top of the Southside Athletic Club. The Northwest Bronx in their white uniforms will be going from right to left, and from left to right this time will be the Southside Athletic Club in their green uniforms as it comes inside the zone. Chipped on net, was off to a quick start. We had a goal in the first 30 seconds of this hockey game, and then another one shortly after by Tapper. And here we are, 2-0 after one period of play. Starting to look like it's warming up a little. At least the sun's come out outside. It's just beautiful up here at this facility. Of course, the COP ski hill behind us, the half pipe, as well as the ski jumps, the bobsled run. Of course, the huge facility was built for the 1988 Calgary Winter Olympics. Daps at the backside here for Southside Athletic Club. It's controlled off the draw there by the Northwest Bronx. They come down the left-hand wing. Stotz throws it into the corner, chipped off the wall. I'm glad to see that the office is closed finally. I walked over to the other side between periods. Everyone deserves a much-needed break here. I'm looking forward to getting off my feet myself. Been a lot of walking around between rinks. Of course, no better thing to do than the Super Bowl this afternoon, the Chiefs and Eagles. Just saw a player's mom walking around with an Eagles toque on, and I said, "Go Birds!" No more rambunctious fan group than the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, the game being played today in New Orleans. Chipped off the wall there, now picked up here by Southside. They're still looking for their first goal as we're already a minute into this second period. Chipped off the wall there, reaching it there. The Bronx come up the left-hand wing. Chipped inside the zone, up over top of a man. Benoit will flip it in there. He's back out there wearing the number 13, just like his brother does for the Northwest Flames down the right-hand side. Chipped back out front. That goes back to the point and goes back inside the zone. Southside with control, but they kind of get their wires crossed there, and it comes outside all the way back down into Edmonton territory. Of course, the Southside Athletic Club, we don't have that in the AAA U18 division. It's now Edmonton Oilers Junior Orange and Junior Blue. But it's one of the most successful programs in minor hockey. They've had several championships at a variety of levels over the years. That goes all the way back inside the zone, off the end boards there. So two very heralded organizations locking horns here at the Cowboy Classic. Goaltender Charlie Peck back there gets ready for another face-off to his left. Controlled there by the Bronx off the face-off. Goes back almost outside the line to the blue line. Now finally out. Both traces after it. Goes back into the corner. Controlled there by Fappa. Fappa comes up the right-hand side. Chips it back the other way. He's got a quick break down the right-hand side. Here come the Bronx on net rebound chance. Good save there by Campbell Walker. Good quick break there. That kind of showed you this wider ice. And, of course, these players playing a lot of hockey the last 3 days. Fatigue could be a factor in this big ice. If you get some open ice, you might want to take advantage of it. Shot on net. That one just goes wide. Chipped up off the wall. Now back out into the neutral zone. Controlled there by Brar. He'll throw that back down inside the zone. All the way the length of the ice. For an icing call, and we'll have another stoppage of play here with 16:53 remaining. So we've had a lot of really cool sponsors and small businesses around here, very well organized. I met the guys from Grind yesterday. That was a really cool product. I'm excited to share more about that at Hockey Pain. There's a story up there right now about it, but also some of the younger entrepreneurs. Max Roy, the former Northwest player with the engraving business going, and it's part of our packages. We give all of the players the white Cowboy hats for the photo after they win the Player of the Game award, but those hats are actually collected again because it's going to go to today's champion. So the winner of this game will all get a Smith Belt Cowboy hat, and of course that's a synonymous brand. I saw they had a handful of the stickers in there. Of course, one of the big things at the Stampede is you like to collect all the different stickers from the companies, whether it's Cinch or Wrangler, and then you put them on your hat. Draw back deep inside the Bronx territory with 16-14 remaining here in the second period. No goals since the beginning of this hockey game. And we're waiting for our next one. Now that on net, controlled there by Peck. Good rebound was there for Southside, but it comes back onto the stick of an Edmonton player. Now back the other way. Here comes Stotz. Stotz inside the zone. That goes off the logo of the Southside goaltender. Now back the other way. Things are moving quickly now. A lot of open ice out there right now. How could there not be on this Olympic-size ice? Back the other way, controlled on the sidewall there by Southside, and it comes back onto the stick of Manatag, now out there on the back end. He wears the number 3. Kanji out there on the back end as well. Now chipped out right into center ice with a not one, but 2 Team Canada logos. One facing our direction on the broadcast, the other facing towards the fans and the benches on the other side. Back inside the zone. Here comes Southside with speed. Back behind the net. Controlled now and thrown back out in front of the net there as McCalla tries to get things going offensively here for Southside. They are still scoreless. Quick change there. And I like to mention this usually in some of the minor hockey rinks that we call the games in the AHL. The bench and the gate in the inside door is well inside the blue line on both sides. So on the long change, that can sometimes affect perhaps a too many men on the ice penalty. Now a player tripped up there, no call. Back on net, that one corralled there by Peck, and he'll hold on for the faceoff. A bit of a late check into the boards there. Still nothing coming here. As I mentioned, this is a veteran officiating crew. So interesting. I actually heard a fan on the other side say that they thought they got away with a couple stick infractions. I think it was a slash in the first period. Nothing too egregious, however. In the slot area, that kicked up to a stick. Here come the Northwest Bronx. Down the left-hand side, goes back into the corner. Controlled there by Parema, back behind the net to Benoit. Mishka back at the point here for the Bronx. I keep wanting to call them the Flames. Of course, they've got similar colors, but it's unique in the Northwest Association. The AA teams are the Bruins and the Stamps, and of course, they don't get mixed up. The Stampeder jerseys are white and red. Bruins, of course, like Boston Bruins colors. The Bronx have black incorporated in their uniforms, and the Flames AAA programs are all red. And of course, they also have the third jerseys this year. And we always like to say they're back in black. Still lots of energy there on the south side bench. They're all up banging their sticks outside the boards right now as we get ready for another face-off deep inside the zone. Jordan Willis out there. Oh, sorry, Wilson. Wilson digging for it in front of the net. He wears the number 9. He's chasing after it now. Wilson plays the body. Good play there. Separates the man from the puck. That goes back to the point. Juggled there by Campbell Walker, and it goes back out into the corner. 13:29 remaining here in the second period. Now Southside. Brar comes outside the zone, goes on net there, kicked up into the glass area, up and over top of the glass, and we'll have another stoppage of play here with 13:20 remaining in this second period as we approach the midway point of our final here at the Cowboy Classic. Thanks for joining us here on a crisp Sunday morning. Now back inside the zone. Goes back as Southside has control, goes up the right-hand wing, chip back down, and now controlled by the Northwest Bronx. Controlled now inside the zone by Southside. They drive back in front of the net, chip back the other way, goes back out to the point. Point shot there, deep into the corner. Now back behind the net, controlled there by Oliver Clark. Clark throws it off the wall, goes back up the left-hand side, back across the net. And now Zapp's back on the right point there. He'll keep it in. Southside starting to move the puck a lot better. Starting to see the ice a little bit better. It is an adjustment when you're playing on bigger ice. Sometimes you want to spread out a little bit more. Longer passes. I always used to love watching Wayne Gretzky play on international ice. That little bit of extra ice certainly gave him more room, especially when he was in his office. Of course, that's right behind the net. Always thinking the game so well, and so many of these young players do so as well now. I was commenting to a parent yesterday that the biggest difference is speed and skill, and it's immense. These players are so much faster, but also the skill training they have, edge work, skating, dry land training, the amount of time that they spend honing their craft. It's certainly come a long, long way, as now it's brought outside the zone by the Northwest Bronx. They've got a 2-0 lead here. Shots on goal, pretty close right now. It's 15-13 in favor of the Bronx. They've got control behind the net. Into the slot area. Here's a dangerous chance. That one just goes off a skate as Stotts tried to corral. He's got 2 points here so far, a goal and an assist. Back behind the net now, controlled. It goes all the way down the length of the ice. And that's the rim around. So when there's this wide ice, sometimes you just can't get over there fast enough. I watched Brett Harrison's Calgary Buffaloes actually practicing that, of throwing it down the wall and then trying to get out to the hash mark on the other side to freeze the puck and try to keep things inside the zone. It's even harder on the international ice. You'll see that if you watch hockey over in Europe, and there's some great leagues over there, including the Swiss Elite League and the DEL 1 and 2. It's a much different game. Of course, I always like to watch the Spengler Cup during the holiday season as well over there in Davos. And those players all very used to playing on the bigger ice. Much more of a physical game in North America. But even now, it's become so much more skilled, which is why I'm so excited to watch Connor McDavid on the big ice at the Olympics at Cortina in a couple years, down the left-hand wing. Of course, this Four Nations face-off all be played in NHL buildings, Boston and Montreal. Back inside the zone, now controlled there by Southside Athletic Club. Comes to the near side there, and it's picked up and thrown down inside the zone there by Hebden. Hebden wears the number 27, of course, a number made famous by Dave Semenko, the longtime Edmonton Oiler. Down the left wing, picked up there by the Bronx. They try to maintain the pressure as we approach the midway point of this final game here at the Cowboy Classic. Some great photographers here as well. Parents have brought the gear, and they're up here with us. Now it's got an extra scores! The Bronx are up 3-0. If I'm not mistaken, that's Jacob Gatos. A huge snipe here for the Bronx. They're up 3-0. I've called so much hockey this year, but you really do feel like it is bigger ice here. It takes them longer to get back to the goalie. It's pretty neat. I hope these guys are enjoying the experience. I'm sure they are. We're certainly enjoying bringing it to you here on YouTube. 3-0 the score. Gatos will stay out there. He chases after it now. So Gatos at 7-11. Chipped up off the wall. Gatos chases after it. He's got a little jump in his step. Now a 2-on-1 developing here for the Bronx. Wilson chases after it as well. 9-19 stay out there for the Bronx. Back to Clark. Clark throws that into the zone. It's caught there and knocked down onto his stick by Brady Bennell. Bennell, the big defenseman there, number 12. I see some of these bigger players. I'm just jealous of them because when I was, I guess, between 14 and 16, I was about 5'4", maybe 5'6". I'm now 6'1", but I never had the size when I was at this age, and it certainly makes a difference. Especially, I played defense. They call a stay-at-home defenseman. Got a good friend of mine that thinks I should start a podcast about stay-at-home defenseman. He thinks that I'll be the only one who wants to watch it. It's a lost art. My favorite player growing up was Dave Manson on the back end. But overall, it was always Mark Messier, the St. Albert native, 6-time Stanley Cup winner. And he's now doing some broadcasting of his own down there in the States. And I think he does a great job. Understands the game, and he certainly understands leadership. If you've never read his book, I suggest you pick it up. The other one I suggest you pick up, and I just finished it, was Scott Oak's new book, For the Love of Sun. That's available now online or in bookstores, and I encourage you to read that one as well. Back the other way, chipped off the wall. The Bronx with the 3-0 lead. Fight for the puck. It's Cooper Curry. Curry and Tapper on the back end. Tapper taps it back out front. Benoit pick it up there. A little bit sloppy there. Bad puck management. Now the Southside Athletic Club with a dangerous chance. We saw that last night in the Calgary Flames game. Puck management late in the game really haunted the Flames last night as Jonathan Huberdeau had a sloppy turnover, and that tied the game up, and the Seattle Kraken would win that game in overtime. The Flames heading into their break here for the Four Nations face-off, 3 points out of a playoff spot. And, of course, I'm the only member of the Calgary media that predicted them to make the playoffs this year, so I need them to get her going again, and I'm sure they will. They've got some injuries on the back end, front end, looking for Connor Zary as well as Kevin Ball to come back in the lineup. And, of course, the recent trade additions of Morgan Frost, who had his first goal last night, and Joel Farabee. Now shot on net there, goes off the shoulder, back to the point, goes off the stick, back in front of the net. They fight for it now. Comes back out into the neutral zone. I think one of the things for the Flames that affected them, too, is losing Justin Kirkland and Anthony Mantha as well early in the season. 2 big bodies. Back behind the net, controlled there by Lincoln Stotz. He's a big body as well. Chipped off the wall. Now a chance from behind the net. Could have tried the Michigan there. Haven't seen any of that stuff here at this U16 AA event. Not enough time and space at times for those fancy moves. Really enjoyed watching the KC Spurs play as well. They are a great offensive group. That one chipped onto the goaltender. The best uniforms for me was Bridge City. The Bridge City Blues, a great name, a great logo, and they've got the old school St. Louis Blues look. I kind of said it was like the first year the Blues were in St. Louis, and the head coach was Scotty Bowman. Just a real classic look. Chipped off the wall, back to the point. Goes off the stick, back the other way. I am fascinated to see what this American team is like with the likes of Austin Matthews and Matthew Tkachuk. A lot of these players in their late 20s and mid-20s that haven't played at the highest international stage. Should be fun, and hopefully some of these young players will get an opportunity to play international hockey as well one day. They're playing on the same sheet of ice right now here at Winsport. That goes on net, and it's corralled there by Walker. He'll hold on for another face-off here with 6:36 remaining in the second period. Wilson digs in for the draw. Back the other way, and it's controlled now by Southside. Jaden Toth chases after it. Now it's picked up here on a backhand shot there by Wilson. Wilson throws it into the corner. He chases after it now. Back behind the net. It's controlled back the other way. Dominico Tremblay out there. His dad Dan is down in the penalty box right now. Don't worry, he didn't get a penalty. He's working the gate. One of the parents for the Northwest. And he's working the gate right now because there's a penalty coming up here to the Bronx. And guess what? It's his son. They keep their distance there. Trombley's can blame me for that one. I was calling it, and that's what happens. Brar at the point now, as now Southside will head to the signature Denter power play here at the Cowboy Classic. Back behind the cage. They control it off the wall. Back to the left point. Looking to get on the board here. A late goal in this second period could turn the tide here in the final. Still plenty of hockey to go. That loose just goes through Peck. Goes back into the corner, up off the glass. That's how they draw it up, kids. Hard off the glass. On the penalty kill. Saw Tyler Drader, the head coach of the St. Trojans, walking around, not with a small clipboard, but the big version, and drawing up plays for his St. Trojans the other night. They had a game here with the Natives and then played up in Nate in Edmonton last night. Chipped off the wall, back behind the cage, controlled there by Southside. You see that in some of the minor hockey rinks. A lot of the coaches just draw directly on the glass now. I'm always down there trying to take pictures, but certainly clean glass. They've broken out the Windex here for us here at Winsport. Now at 2-on-1 developing shorthanded. Here comes Tapper inside the zone. That one up off the plexi. Get some glass there. There's some fans jumping up behind the net. And yes, Dave, we would refer to that one as a double-A shot. We used to joke with our players that they want to hit the net no matter what. Make the goalie make a save, put it on net. And I used to get in their heads by calling it a double-A shot. They said, why do you call it a double-A shot? I'm like, because if you hit the net, you'd be playing trips. But trust me, the AAA guys miss the net just as much too. Especially in the warm-ups. If you watch a double-A warm-up at the U18 level, it is baffling. Of course, I know all the players want to go bar down, but the majority of the goals at the professional level are scored 6-hole, which is just over top of the pads. So try to hit the middle of the net on either side. And, of course, that one just a little too high. And if you got a good glove hand like Campbell Walker does, it doesn't matter where you shoot the puck. He's going to stop it. And the goaltending has gotten so good. I think one of the fun things for me during the pandemic was watching a lot of the old footage and old hockey. I went through and watched the entire 87 Canada Cup. And it's the goaltending for me. It's the position has evolved. And, of course, the Northwest Flames have Adam Marcoux and Dave Marcoux around and all these great goaltending clinics. And there's a laundry list of them out there. And they are worth their weight in gold because there's just so much to the position. Of course, my favorite was another Team Canada goalie, and that's Carey Price. And just had that great rhythm. Interesting to hear that he said that he misses the game day nerves and that nervousness that he used to have. He always seems so calm, cool, and collected. Man knocked down inside the zone there was Jamie Clegg. Clegg, haven't said his name yet, trying to fix his cage there. I think he's still a little bit rattled. He's going to stay out there. He wears the number 19. That goes off his left hand. That must have stung too. Stoats now gets it back. Good back check there by Clegg. He picks up the puck now. Comes across the red line. He's got some speed inside the zone. He drives the net. What a good rush there. Southside showing some life here in the late stages of the second period. They trail here 3-0 in the final of the Cowboy Classic. Back up the left-hand boards. Picked up there by Kappa. Now inside the zone. Throws that just wide. Up off the boards. Now it goes back onto the stick of, we call him Rico. That's what they call him in the room, folks. Picked up now inside the zone, as that's Bennett DeBolt. DeBolt chases it back. He wears the number 16 as they try to headman pass there, but Southside's going to have to go all the way back down in their own zone, as the Northwest Bronx will have a face-off deep down there. with the 3-0 score, 19-17. Now the shots on goal in favor of the Northwest Bronx. So time moving along here. The bottom of the hour here, 11:36. Back behind the cage, chipped off the wall, tripped up there, back on his feet is Wyatt Rowland. Rowland out there tries to set up camp out front. Benoit out there as well. Backdoor play. Oh my goodness. What a chance there for Rowland. That just went wide. Now Clark tries to corral it. Clark with control at the point, throws it off the wall, down deep into the corner. Comes up the right-hand boards. It's turned over. And here comes Southside back the other way. Down the right-hand wing with speed. Bogdanovich tries to chase after it. He regains control. It goes off the shoulder of a Bronx player, and now they'll have control, and they'll come out with numbers. Down the left-hand side, here comes Benoit. Benoit cuts outside, back inside, tries to go short side, but a good job sealing the side wall there in the side post. They call that short side. It's a tough save for a goaltender to make. Sometimes if you're catching the way that this goaltender is it handcuffs you. Of course, now the goaltender is taught to just bat it down, and rebound control is so key. Try to push it out to the corners. Don't want to push it back out in front of the net because that'll be a dangerous scoring chance. Now, Stoats back out there. Lincoln Stoats now back to the point. Loops back. He's got control. Goes down the left-hand side. Back on it. She scores! I swear that went in. No, it didn't. Oh, my gosh. Wow, he fell on top of it. It looked like it went 5-hole, and I had the angle on it here. My apologies, folks. Another Cowboy turn. I was quick on the draw. Back out the other way, inside the zone. I think the only thing we should have added to the office was the saloon doors. Shoot scores! That one's in. It's Wilson. He busts through the saloon doors, and the Bronx are busting through here in the gold medal game. They're up 4-0. There's the flyby. Wilson will lead the way as he scored here. Jordan Wilson with the 4th goal of the game for the Northwest Bronx. Face off back at center ice. Just a quick shot there as Wilson regains control, the goal scorer. Trying to catch the assist there for it. I missed it, however, as Bays keeps it inside the zone. Stoats back the other way. Player tripped up. That's an easy call. That's a tripping penalty. So Southside perhaps can get a little bit of momentum here as the captain is tripped up. And after scoring that goal, Wilson will Wilson will get a penalty here for tripping, and we'll head back to a Signature Dental power play. If you haven't caught this cold that's going around, it's a lot of fun, let me tell you. I'm in the latter stages of it, but still struggling a little bit here as we're back to the action here at the Cowboy Classic. 15 seconds remaining. Up the center of the ice, south side. Try to get control. If this penalty carries over in the next period, we'll let you know how much time. They'll start the period with another power play here to start the third. That's exactly what's going to happen. It'll be 1:35 remaining in the tripping penalty to Wilson. So another couple of goals here in the second period for the Northwest Bronx. Players will head to the dressing room here underneath here at Winsport A. We'll take a break here on YouTube and be back with third period coverage of this championship game at the Cowboy Classic coming up next.
face off on the dot there instead of in the plain sight.
I thought it was funny that he didn't call that penalty. Because it wasn't a penalty, but in Triple A they wouldn't call that. Like teams. But it didn't think they should have.
Mark, how did the map get past that side you didn't miss?
Lost it. Well, I'm like, it's just. But just that it says there's been a lot of not speculation. Every day you party like since when? An hour ago? Were you coming or no? You'd buy phone and we could go on top and say, yeah, over. Like, is there free food? Probably. No, I don't want to do that.
Somewhere between here and down, or?
I've got dinner every single Bronx restaurant. It's not that fun. Because I did it yesterday. Like we couldn't do it.
Getting something. Otherwise,
I know. I'd rather do lunch. Buys the game last night was $8,000.
Biden.
Yeah. Parents all fit it up. It's the last game of the Calgary game park.
Oh, carried over.
Yeah. I missed this by 15 up. 45 bucks.
Otherwise, I would go like that.
It was a bit sketchy because Mark Simpson isn't real help on the sides of two Canadians. And we had some issues trying to get the broadcast up. Similar to when we go through stuff like that, right? Well, yeah, once it was going, it was good. It was a good hockey. But that was the last game of the year for them. For the Rams. 5 for 35 hours. Everybody's kind of getting a break now because they're all going to playoffs. Yeah, the regular season. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Cowboy Classic here on YouTube. Mark Payne up in the booth with Dave Standish, taking care of all the technical duties here, and we're here for a exciting third period. If you can hear the energy levels are up, it's because they are, as we get ready for what could be a championship moment for one of these two teams as it's brought inside the line across the WinSport logo. Other teams getting warmed up here for other games going on around this facility. It is a busy place, let me tell you. And the AHL's Calgary Wranglers also practice here. Their dressing room is right downstairs as it comes back to the right point. Of course, the National Hockey League, a lot of teams practice outside the city. This is almost outside the city. You keep going, you'll find yourself in Banff. Back on the top of the circle there as this period starts with this power play here as Wilson continues to serve his penalty. 46 seconds remaining. Of course, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors this week, including Signature Genter 28. And it's been a pleasure to get to know some of our small vendors as well here at the Cowboy Classic. And also snacking all the baked goods. I had a good cinnamon bun there in the media room before this game this morning. Just what I need. Off the blocker there. Of course, people getting ready to host Super Bowls all across North America. Parties are Probably one of the most unhealthy days of the year. Now on net route, a rebound shot. Oh my goodness, they could have shot it right away. The net was wide open. Hot now for the point. A good hot shot. He gets it back again, throws it back the other way. Southside shown some spots of energy again here in the third period. They've had their chances, but they haven't been able to beat the goaltender Peck. He's back in there, sliding back and forth between the cage. Comes back to the right point. On net, that one whistles wide. Off into the corner. Comes all the way back down inside Edmonton territory, back behind the cage. Not sure what team that is, but they're warming up. They call them warmies. Guys like to kind of get the blood flowing. They like to play a little bit of soccer and sewer ball. Downstairs, these are great facilities. A lot of minor hockey rinks don't like soccer balls because they break the lights and that sort of things. I know these kids don't think that way. Talking to a parent before the game, we were talking about the kids making ramen. Just make sure you turn the stove off before you go to sleep. Or just get out of my kitchen, I'm sure a lot of the mothers are thinking. Back inside the zone. Of course, these guys have quite the appetite, and a lot of the teams have brought meals in. I actually saw one team brought a big Tupperware container of salad in, and they dumped a bunch of eggs in it. It was crazy. It was like a monster chef salad. Down the right-hand side, controlled there by the Northwest Bronx. Back to the right point, controlled there by Tremblay. That goes off a stick, up and out of play into the netting, and we'll have a stoppage of play here with 17:06 remaining in the third period. Of course, all the post-game coverage will be posted online. We'll have interviews after. I'm going to be interviewing all of the Northwest Bronx players. We're going to have some fun with them. We're going to ask them who they think is going to win the Super Bowl today, Chiefs or Eagles. I'm sure most of them are hockey fans. I know the team is getting together to watch the Super Bowl today. So that's kind of a nice team activity. Chip down inside the zone. And there's no rest for the Wicked as Dave and I will be headed just over here to Father David Bauer. And we'll be waiting for puck drop. That at 2:45 this afternoon for the Northwest United Pacific Project Flames facing off against the Calgary North Stars. Evan Benoit will be in the lineup. His brother just shot it on net there. And it's smothered by the goaltender. Cameron Benoit out there right now. He's going to stay out for another shift here with 16:31. He's even going to take the face off. The one thing I did notice, and I've watched some other games here too, not as deep with benches. So some of the teams have three lines, and you'll see there's some gap, but most of these teams carrying a couple less players than I'm used to at the junior level. Down the left-hand side, back behind the net. A lot of the players last night were actually healthy scratches in Okotoks. I saw them in the hotel bar. Our U18s, we see them in the bar, we start to worry as they're underage. But the junior players, of course, part of the community out there in Okotoks, both for the Oilers and the Bisons in the BCHL and the HCHL. Back in front of the net, that one just goes wide. Peck's kind of dazed there. He shakes it off inside the net. He's shaking his head here. I think he said he's okay. He certainly wears his emotions on his sleeve, does Charlie Peck. That one on net. Good save there. Kicked back the other way, and here comes Edmonton back outside the zone. The Southside Athletic Club, good hit on the wall there, but they're going to call that. I think he thought it was boarding or from behind. We're going to wait for the call. But it's definitely against the Southside Athletic Club. And heading off there will be Joshua Hebden. Hebden, it is a boarding call. So that's a 2-minute penalty. Of course, quite often the head contact penalties are 4-minute penalties. Parents scattered throughout the stands here. Back to the point. That one goes on net. Oh, my goodness. What a rebound chance that was for Wilson. He's got one already. He's looking for a pair. He's got the puck again. Cross ice pass. Controlled there by Curry. Curry, point shot back on net. Goes back into the corner. And Clark now with control at the point. Clark and Curry. Curry and Clark. Back out the other way. Chip back out
down inside the zone. And now it comes back onto the stick of Curry. Back into the center ice area. That one just misses Toth, goes down for the icing call here, and Charlie Peck will go for a quick skate. Maybe it's nerves, 14:42, and I'm sure it's not. We actually talked to one of the goaltenders for the KC Spurs. I asked him why he likes to spray his water bottle, and he said it's actually a reset move. So it's a mental reset. Sometimes goalies are trained to bring their mask up and put it up over top of their head. Again, just so much has changed, and that's the mental side of the game. Behind the net, that was a dangerous play, and good forecheck there by the Southside Athletic Club as the play has regained control, goes back to the left defense position, all the way back down the other way. McCallum now comes inside the zone, tries to go inside out. Now picked up here by Cameron Benoit. Benoit back inside the zone. Benoit at the top of the circle, so he'll just slow things down. Goes back the other way, skips over top of a stick. And back down over to Benoit in front. Shoots, scores! Backdoor play! A power play goal here on the Signature Dental power play, and the Northwest Bronx lead this final by a score of 5-0. And you can kind of see the dejected look of some of the players down there on the Southside bench. Disappointed. They've had such a good week here. It's unfortunate they just weren't able to kind of get off the schneid. Tristan Klaus out there on the left-hand wing. So it's Wyatt Rowland with the goal. Rowland from Benoit. The voice of this league for the public address, just fantastic. It reminds me of the old Maple Leaf Gardens. Of course, I always love all the voices of the game. That's some very good ones over the years. Public address for the Edmonton Oilers used to be very good too. And of course, we had Russ Peak here in Calgary for a long time. And I was saying that to the coaches before the game. You want to have your own style when you're a broadcaster, but you certainly emulate some other broadcasters' styles, and you always appreciate it, just like players appreciate other good players. I'm sure lots of players will be trading sticks and kind of getting some mementos. And players, when you get in a dressing room with a guy like Sidney Crosby, especially at this stage of his career, you definitely would like to have something to remember it by. That one chipped back up onto the bench. The coaches barely got out of the way there. Of course, a lot of the different staffs of CIHA, we'd like to thank them as well. They've really hooked us up with some great equipment here to be able to bring these broadcasts to you here on YouTube. And we'd like to thank Mo Jamal and all of his staff, the general manager of the entire program. But they've got the long jackets for the coaches now. They introduced them at the Circle K Classic this year. The Northwest Association, they have different styles of jackets for the coaches as well. The 18s are more of an athletic look. These are kind of the navy pea coat jackets, but it's a great look. Is that one chipped on net? Ooh, that just goes by the net of Peck. Back the other way. Controlled now outside the zone. As Southside will regain control. Back the other way, it's Maxime Conrad. We haven't said his name yet. We'd like to try to say them all because we know the players will likely watch this, especially if the Super Bowl's a blowout. That one chipped up over top of the glass, but I don't think it will be, as Jalen Hurts' Eagles and Patrick Mahomes' Kansas City Chiefs looks for the three-peat. I'm sure that I heard the great story about Pat Riley, of course, the longtime coach for the Miami Heat and Los Angeles Lakers, who's patented the word three-peat. Could be a payday for him. Of course, we talked about the food on Super Bowl Sunday. It's also one of the most heavily bet on games. And of course, the Caesars Superdome is where the game is being played. So I'm sure the wagers are being placed on the big game. Personally, I was truly hoping for a Bills-Eagles Super Bowl, as I think they're two of the greatest fan bases in all of sports.
On net, kick saved there by Peck. Shoot, scores! They're on the board! Southside buries that one. They jump up into the glass. It's Kason Verani with the flyby. And they're even wearing Philadelphia Eagles green. They call that a great selly.
The boys are all warming up here, and they're chased behind an older gentleman who's walking around the track here, and then the whole hockey team behind him as warmies are underway for another game that's going to take place here later on this afternoon at Winsport, home of Hockey Canada. So there'll be no shutout for Charlie Peck, and he better be careful. There is still 12 minutes remaining, 11:40 to be exact. And Southside with another opportunity inside the zone. Good hand-eye there as that one's batted into the corner. Comes back around the other way. Back out in front. And the way things are going so far, we'd like to hope for another couple goals to see that this, again, we have a real competitive matchup here in this gold medal game. I know the fans in Edmonton feel that way. Back up the other way, goes all the way back onto the stick of Ethan Joyce. Joyce with control. The swift skating defenseman comes out from behind the net, picked up there by Wilson. Back down the right-hand side, Stotz. He's got 2 points in this game, a goal and an assist. He's got the first goal of the game and the assist on the second goal scored by Tapper. That one just goes wide. Chip back up to the wall as we approach the midway point of the third and final period here in the Cowboy Classic. This is the gold medal game brought to you by Signature Dental here on YouTube. Down the left-hand side, here comes Southside, across inside Bronx territory. They fight for it back behind the net. And now they'll continue out back to the left point position. Point shot there, blocked. And now coming out the zone with speed is Tristan Canahan. Canahan, number 11, out there right now. Tapper out there as well. He works it back to the back end. Controlled there by Joyce. Comes up the left-hand side. Picked up by Benoit. Here comes Benoit. Benoit back down the wing. Throws it back in front of the net. That one just chips onto the goaltender and will be controlled easily there by Campbell Walker. So it's been a great week here at the Cowboy Classic. I've had an absolute blast. Please continue to share. And if you have some photos that you see on Instagram at Hockey Paint, you can always send me a DM and I'll send you the photos. I know these are keepsakes for these players and try to create as many memories as possible. The tough part is I don't get to do enough of the shooting and the kind of behind the scenes stuff I'd like to do when we're on the air this much. That's been the challenge at other big events that we do around the city, like the Circle K Classic. A couple weeks ago, it was at the CIHA Winter Classic. That was a great event. Back down the other way, in front of the net. That one just goes wide. Just past the stick. Now, Southside with control inside the zone. We're under 10 minutes to play, 9:32 remaining in this hockey game. 31-24, the shots in favor of the Northwest Bronx. Back the other way. Here comes Benoit. Benoit on net. Tries to shovel that one in. Now it comes back out into the neutral zone. Picked up there by Southside. They'll come down the left-hand wing. Picking it up there is DeBolt. DeBolt back inside the zone. Comes back to the point to Holtz. Holtz throws it in there. Garrett Holtz, the defenseman. Out there on the back end right now as the puck's trying to be shoveled into the zone, and it'll go all the way down the length of the ice. I think you're starting to see the product of fatigue a little bit here, as there's been a lot of icings. Of course, this facility here at Winsport not only hosts hockey, but other events, including the Calgary Surge, the basketball team in the CBHL or CBBL, sorry, and also concerts and other big events. They do private meetings and stuff here as well. It's an incredible facility. We actually had our team photos for the Northwest upstairs in the boardrooms as well. And then in the far corner, of course, we've mentioned it multiple times that it's Hockey Canada's office is here as well. But just a bustle of activity. And one of our players, Cohen Pentney, his father, John Pentney, is a teacher here. And it's actually a sports school, and it's like a full high school. I didn't realize there's 600 students. It's more than went to my high school, I'll tell you that. But it's great because the players are able to train. And I talked to a few CIHA players as we were setting up for this event about what they like about it. They say it's nice to be in the same facility and just be able to do dry land and everything's under one roof. I know that their parents probably appreciate the fact they don't have to rush to school to pick them up. I was talking to a dad about having to be self-employed to be able to keep your kid in hockey because sometimes trying to get to a 4:30 practice just is not doable if you're in a rigid 9 to 5 job. And of course, everybody learning some tricks of the trade the last few years about working remotely, but that's not always an option, especially with travel for businesses across Western Canada. That one chipped up over top of the glass. Haley Lutz, the trainer there, had to be careful. Had a chance to catch up with her. Just a lovely person. Before the game, she's been excited for all these players. And what you really see what this time of the year is what a cohesive unit all these staffs are in minor hockey. It's not just the head coach, it's the assistant coaches and the trainers. They're all part of it. They're all part of the group. And when you have a moment to capture in a championship photo, it's fun to see all the smiling faces in there together. And hopefully we'll have a moment like that in 7 minutes and 15 seconds along the ice. We've got photographers and everything lined up for the post-game ceremonies here at the Cowboy Classic. As we'll stay on our broadcast just after this game, and then Dave and I, like I said, will wrap things up and then head over to Father David Bauer Arena for another great matchup between the North Stars and Flames. But first, it's going to be Wilson. Wilson with control. That goes off the skate. Back the other way. Wilson chases after it. Goes back around a Southside player. Back on net. That held on to there by Campbell Walker for another face-off with 6:41 remaining in the third period. Face-off to the right of Walker. Chip back to the line. That one goes off a glove and just goes wide. Into the corner, controlled there. See it there on your screen. Back down the left-hand side. Here comes the Southside Athletic Club. Good little backdoor pass. I saw that play work a few weeks ago. Sometimes what you want to do is you go behind the net and then you drop it back and then you've got the trailer right behind you. And hopefully he gets the goalie fooled who follows the player who's carrying the puck and you got an empty net opportunity. Try that one. Now we'll have a face-off inside the south side zone. They trail here by 4, 5-1 the score, with time ticking down in the Cowboy Classic. Back inside the zone, chipped off the wall, comes back out of the stick of the south side player. They'll come down the right-hand wing in front of the player benches, all the way back inside Calgary's zone. Picked up there by Bays. Bays back the other way. Here's a name I would have not gotten right had I not asked the parents before the tournament, as the spelling, I thought it was almost like Besser, like Bose, or like Bose speakers. Hopefully your speakers are pumped up here and you're enjoying this broadcast on YouTube. Back in front of the net. That one whistles wide. Back into the corner. They fight for it now, back behind the cage, goes all the way back to the right point. Southside tried to add on. That tip by a Bronx player, that almost fooled Peck. Can't blame him there. That would have been an own goal. Little soccer terminology in here for you in the late stages. Down to 5:06 remaining. Bronx still with a 4-goal lead. Now breakaway opportunity. Breaking it, backhand shelf, scores! Tristan Catahan has put the Bronx up 6-1. Catahan really testing the rest of my voice here. I'm literally emptying the tank. I won't be yelling at the TV for the football game this afternoon. I'm not going to have a voice left. Great speed coming through the neutral zone there by Catahan, and he comes inside and buries that opportunity. And it's back to a 5-goal lead here for the Northwest Bronx as they try to put the finishing touches on a tournament that they've hosted. I asked them, did they feel a little bit of extra pressure being the hosts? They said they feel pressure every game. Back inside the zone, back down, up off the glass. That one goes up and out of play. Whistled down by the officials. Like to thank all the officials for Hockey Alberta. Of course, this is not a sanctioned league game, so really appreciate it. It's tough for these officials because their schedules are extremely busy, and they've done a wonderful job here at this Cowboy Classic. Back inside the zone, chase after there. The Northwest Bronx player Curry kind of washed out there behind the net, and that's going to be a penalty. And it was interesting in the UAAA game that we did yesterday. The officials didn't really have much control over the game, and there was a bit of a melee at the end of the game, and the call didn't make any sense. But sometimes a call like that on Ann, I don't think that's really an egregious penalty, but it's just to control the game. One of the games here got kind of chippy at times, and of course, in my day, they would just drop the clock to 2 minutes and run the clock. But they try to keep this as much like a professional environment, and most of these players are used to it now. And usually cooler heads do prevail. As we'll have to keep an eye on the Northwest bench. I'm sure they'll be excited if they can put the finishing touches on this Cowboy Classic. Back the other way, back into the corner to Tremblay. Inside, goes back to the point. They fight for it now into the corner. Baines out there on the back end. Catahan got the last goal. He chips it down behind the net. It's controlled there by Jaden Toth. Toth throws it back out to the point. Tremblay back there. Back to Toth inside the zone. This power play by Signature Denture continues here on YouTube. Back outside the zone. That goes off a hand, up and out of play. And we'll have another stoppage of play here with 3:40 remaining in this third period. And my broadcast marathon of the last 2 days will continue. We're 72 hours in now. Back to the right point. Controlled there. Shoot, scores! What a shot! Top shelf ripper. Benoit snipes one there. It's 7-1 Bronx. I did not expect this today, folks. I thought this would be a much closer game, but in the end, it's just been too much offense. They've continued to pour it on, have the Northwest Bronx. The referee kind of discussing things before dropping the puck there with the players. I'm not sure what that discussion was about. Doesn't really matter. 34 remaining in this third period.
We'll continue on here at the Cowboy Classic. Good collision there in the middle of the ice, now picked up by the Northwest Bronx. They're on their way to a gold medal here at the Cowboy Classic. I think we can safely say that now with 3:04 remaining. And then a late hit in there. Shocked that didn't get called. Saying it's interference. Trying to control the game, and I was very surprised that wasn't a penalty. Sorry, that kind of distracted me for a moment. As now on the left-hand side, I was talking to one of the head coaches yesterday about this, is that the utmost importance needs to be put on player safety. It's not always about making the right call, and making the right call would be a good start, but player safety is the utmost importance. And I think that's a good reminder for all players as well. Keep it clean. Down the right-hand side. And trust me, no one likes a big body check more than I do, but don't need things to get chippy or dirty here in the late stages. Down the other way, controlled into the corner. Kipped off the wall by Benoit. He's got the last goal here for these Northwest Bronx. Inside the zone, ironically enough, the champion of the Cowboy Classic will be the Bronx. Another Cowboy term. Had to sneak one last one in there. Shifted back the other way, now down the other side. That's going to be a tripping penalty as the player was sent sprawling. Delayed penalty here coming up against Southside Athletic Club. Chip back in front of the net. The player's lost his glove. Everybody's going to be able to corral their gear here. Throw the saddle on the horse and get ready to ride out of here at Winsport as we're a minute 28 away from the conclusion of this Cowboy Classic. It's fun. Even the penalty boxes here have the plexiglass for the sledge hockey, and you can actually see out onto the ice there. It's actually a really good angle for a camera. If there's a young photographer, that's where I would be shooting from. Kind of get a different lens down there. Get some real neat shots. Miller with control. He was a great interview. I'd like to thank Easton Miller for his time this week. Back the other way, on net, good rebound stop there. And we're under a minute to play. Here's a breakaway chance. Southside with a chance. Peck's going to come out, but it's picked up. They can't get the shot off. Good back check there. Man still in front of the net. Peck gets a stick on that. Boy, was that exciting. Coach is clapping from the bench. I really didn't want to jinx Charlie because he had the shutout bid going there, but the one goal here so far. Now a tip shot from the point. As it's controlled now, back the other way. Goes back to the point. Back out front. Rebound shot as this penalty continues. And it'll be for the rest of the game here. Shots on goal, 40-26. We're under 20 seconds to play as the whistle goes. Exactly 20 seconds to play. So one final draw, perhaps inside the zone. As these Northwest Bronx with a 7-1 lead here in this gold medal game will get ready to celebrate a championship here at the Cowboy Classic. Congratulations to the Northwest Bronx as they get ready to celebrate a huge win here at Winsport. Two seconds left, guys. You just couldn't let the clock run up there? Or? Really stole my thunder there. So one final face-off here. They don't even try to win the draw. It's chipped on net there. And there it is, folks. I'm not sure what's going on here. We're just trying to throw the gloves and celebrate. That is one of the weirdest endings you will ever see to a championship game. The players don't care. The game is over. The Cowboy Classic has come to an end, and your champions are the Northwest Bronx. I'd like to thank the Southside Athletic Club as well. A great group, a great organization. I know they're dejected, but what a great run they had here. Coaches will shake hands, and we'll get ready to sign off here on YouTube. I'm going to get downstairs for a few interviews here, and you can see those all at Hockey Pain, and we'll share those on all the socials, including the U16 Bronx's page as well. We'd like to thank YouTube, Winsport, all of our sponsors, all the parents, all of the volunteers, and especially our organizing committee as well. It's been an absolute blast to be here with these U16 AA players the last few days as they line up on the lines, and we'll have one final player of the game ceremony. Sure, they'll thank everybody for a good week, but we'll let it get sent down there, and we'll take a little quick break, and then we'll have a final send-off here to conclude the proceedings here at Winsport. So it's Lincoln Stokes for the Northwest Bronx that'll take the Player of the Game awards. It's a nice moment for him. Number 7, he had a great game today. And so did number 18, Ryan Zapps, the defenseman, will hand the Cowboy hat off there to Tara Beatty. And the Stamps will get prepared to celebrate on the ice. And we'll get ready to sign off here on YouTube. Thanks for joining us here at the Cowboy Classic. For my good friend and pal Dave Standish, I'm Mark Payne. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you around the bend or down the backstretch, as they say, at the Stampede. The Cowboy Classic, it'll be back. The 2026 edition. We'll keep you posted. We'll see you next time, folks.